Yo, what's up, Banter fam? I do apologize for being fashionably late. I was looking at some of the comments. It's taken quite a bit for me to get used to everything again, and I do apologize for being a little bit late. But guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, we are getting exciting news where, the total 3 is starting to break some sort of trends, which is fantastic. Now we're starting to get a nice little momentum shift from the actual market, which was great. The news came out yesterday and it was okay. And from that, at least it wasn't, really massive negative news. And we can see that the market's sort of over it now. And we can see that we're still getting this nice gradual growth. But now we obviously have the short-term trades doing great. And that's something I'm going to be jumping on again today with a few new calls, giving a bit of updates that, we took some short-term trades yesterday. How do we look to trade them? I saw 3 of them already hit the first TP zone. So it's just going to get you a little bit of habit of, if you are looking for some short-term trades, how to be looking on it. And I have some fantastic investment calls as well today, and giving you a view that Bitcoin's looking strong. It is looking good, but it does have a nice job for us to do. And we have to get to specific levels. And if we don't get to those levels, we need to make a serious decision with our actual portfolios. So guys, no more wasting time. Let's get into it.
Click, click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click, click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click, click, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror, mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click, click. Enter the sniper. Enter the sniper.
Put some music on. So Banter fam, if you are brand new, the first thing I want you to do is join the best family in the world. I need you to hit that subscribe button. I need you to hit that like button. Show lots of love for the channel. Why? Because we have created the most powerful community out there. We are there every day. We are there through the dips. We are there through the ups, the downs, throughout the whole market. And the main purpose of this channel and the whole reason of why we do this is to show support for each other, that you are not alone in this life-changing journey. And I can promise you, it is a massive life-changing journey. So join the family, be part of our Telegram groups. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. Make sure you're following all the sources that we have put out there. Remember, guys, we have set this all up as tools so that you can always keep updated in the market. The social medias are there to keep updated if things are big happening in the market or anything massive happening. So make sure you are joining and showing lots of love. To the rest of you, what's up, Banter fam? I think we're starting to get somewhere in the market again. And I know it's felt like, 2 months of absolutely, like a slow death, where someone kills you softly and they just kill you, or not softly, slowly, one stab wound at a time, slowly starting to bleed out. And guess what? We have flushed out many of the weak at the weak in the market. And I want to congratulate the ones that are still here. And we've been through this already, guys. Remember, from the beginning of the year, we saw Bitcoin go from, or beginning of last year, we saw Bitcoin go from 20,000 to 65,000, then flashing all the way back down. I should take this out. Then flashing all the way back down to the region of 29K. That then flushed out easily 70% of retail, or a lot of people in the market. And then we then had a rally straight back. 3 months later, we're looking at Bitcoin at 69K again. So I want to congratulate the ones that are staying dedicated through these times. You're understanding that it is a process, and you should be taking these waves as a lesson for yourself. Why? Because as I've said it many times, guys, this market can only move 3 ways. It can move to the upward side, it can move to the sideways side, or it can move downwards. And if you've been through a few of those rides, you will learn to stop making mistakes off of emotion, and learn to stop trading off of emotion, just off a nice, simple strategy. So the first thing, before I do jump into the actual charts, guys, remember, under the description below, of the videos. We have the Miami event, which I'll be there. We leave tomorrow. I'm very excited. I've never been to the US. I'm super excited to come meet a lot of fans. And remember, guys, if you are wanting to join us to be getting your tickets, you can see here at the bottom, grab your tickets in Miami below. For the Miami event, and you can see it will bring you up this as well. We did have a few problems yesterday, but it is all back up and running. So if you have not got your tickets, make sure to get it there. And please, guys, only get tickets if you are actually going to be there. Let's not ruin it for anyone else. Second thing, guys, make sure, I just said it, make sure you're always using our tools. So make sure you're on our website, because out here, you know, yesterday was one of the best phantom articles out there, and the amount of knowledge that's pumping through here, guys. So we're basically looking at this to become a main hub for what we do. You know what I mean? It's there to help you with show recaps. It's there to help you with articles of what we look at. It's there to help you with strategies. It's a beautiful place for you to come and get all the information, so you can start strategizing with your strategy and what you're actually looking for in the market. Remember, it is like Twitter, so look to sign in with your Twitter account, and it also works like Twitter. And what's exciting is, you know, little birdies come around like, Sniper School is a lot closer than what we think. And this educational section here, I think it's about to blow up. So make sure you are part of it, and make sure you are kept up with all of our information. Now, let's actually jump into the charts. Let's have a look, guys. So yesterday, I think, it was a beautiful way that we could actually speak yesterday to finally clear the air between what investors should be doing and what traders should be doing at this mark. Now, you know, quick recap on that is investors are looking to just buy. And by using a simple tool, you know what I mean, you just need to use that. You need to just find the right fundamental coins. And that's where Rand and his researchers and his teams are fantastic at. Remember, it's not always implying saying buying right now. It's saying put this coin on your radar. And when that simple weekly stochastic hits the bottom, you know, you then know what to do. You know, then you got a trader. Now, what is a trader? Guys, a trader is someone that's putting money in that they can't afford to lose right now. They can't afford to put it in and go through a 60% dip, you know, hold it out. Like, they need that money, or, you know, they're putting too much at this point. So a trader, the only difference between the two is a trader is managing his risk a lot more. A trader is making sure that he's using minimal stop losses. He's only risking a certain percentage, and he's got an exit point, because he needs that money, or they need that they can't put everything on the line and hold for the next year or two. And that's where the two differences come in. You either got people coming in that have some cash, you know, they have some money that they're able to flex. They just really wanted to grow over time, you know, and they're willing to go through the ups and downs of the rides. And if you can understand the simple strategy of buying dips, and, you know what I mean, learning to buy high time frame dips and high stochastic RSI resets, you know, you got a winning strategy, just buying the right coins. And then you got the trader where, you know, I want to build a long term. I don't have enough money now to put it in and just leave it there for as long as it goes. You know, I want to now use that money, and I want to start making it active, making more money off of it, and start building a long term as well as holding this money, because I can't lose that money. So that's why it's very important just to identify which one are you. And whichever one you are, you know, that's where you need to work with different rules, different strategies, and what we're looking at. So before I jump into the actual trades, let's actually have a look to see what is happening on the market right now. So we have Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin yesterday, what I liked about it is we did get a nice high of 44,400, which was great. You know, it was good that we finally started really trailing out of this little 4-hour accumulation phase, right? And what I am seeing here is there's still a lot of imbalance here. So where I was sticking with yesterday, that, you know, the news looked like it was going to come out good. This was the area we were speaking at yesterday. It was showing already that the chart, that volume came in. We got the higher high. We then came down to test. And now it looks like we're slowly rallying our way up. And for me, the next obvious target for Bitcoin is all of this previous supports. Now, remember the simple thing, guys, is when we're hitting a sort of line and we got something bouncing, you know, that's a support line. And as soon as we break that, it no longer becomes support, it becomes resistance, which means at any point we can come test that same zone, you know, as a sort of resistance. And if we do break that, it's then giving us an indication that, you know, now we are starting to reverse, or we're starting to get that little hint of where we're looking at. So now with Bitcoin, you know, there is very clear. That was support, guys. You know, I spoke about it so much during that time where bouncing, and it looked really good. And as soon as we broke through it, you could see the acceleration down, and it just went down to the next support, which is between the 39K and the 40K. And it still held our main trend that we were always looking for. So it's still important that high time frame, we bounced on support. And we know that that's a serious trend that we still want to be holding for the remainder out the next few months, and that to go. So what I am seeing here is I'm still waiting for this beautiful move. And guys, this is what's lovely about, understanding. Remember, masterclasses, go watch them, go watch them, go watch them. So when we're doing this every day, you understand what we're doing. But if you have a look here, look how we broke through. And these previous highs over here, do you see how we turned it into support? So meaning we finally broke through it. Do you see how we come down and test it? And now we're going up the next level. Remember what I was saying about we use it basically as levels, that when we are trailing up, all that I want to see is the previous high we break, and I want to see us turn it into a floor, turn it into a floor. It's like walking up step ladders. And what's nice about that is it still gives me the nice little, structure to understand where to put stop losses, or, what should we be holding, and what momentum should we be holding. It just gives you a little bit of understanding of where we're at. So I'm looking at Bitcoin still rally its way to the 45 to the 46,000. We do have another tool, which I'm going to show you guys tomorrow. It's really cool. It shows you where a lot of buy and sell walls are. And it's showing that there is quite a bit of a sell wall sitting between the 45 and the $46,000 region, which makes sense. Because now I basically zoom out and I see, okay, what's all in the area of that? Firstly, it's all that support, which is now resistance. So it's a key level, that was support. We then have this beautiful trend line, where that was the trend we were moving down for a while. So we also have that in that area over there. Let's just move here. And then obviously, we got the little things of the 200-day moving average, which I'll see if I can quickly load up here for you guys. Remember, MA, load that up, put it in, change your settings quickly, put this to 200. There we go. Put this there over there. Cool. And then we have the 200 MA. And where's that? That's sitting just above 46,000. So we know this is a key level. And this could possibly be, the level where we break that and we're finally destroying the momentum that we've had for the downward side, for the last 2-3 weeks. Because if we have this major trend and we break that, the next level for Bitcoin is 53K. The next level for that is then 56K. Then we have 60,000. So that can finally be our nice road to recovery. The only thing is we got to get through that first. So I've been prepping, that I've had some cash on the side. So I decided to take some short-term trades. And yesterday, majority of them are over 10, 15% up already. You know what I mean? And then that just taught me, okay, I already took TP on 1 or 2 of them, which I'm going to get to now. But it's just showing me that until I know what's happening, I'm still going to be using the market to make some gains. It helps me then fill up my investment side, stock up on some coins that I bought a little bit too high. Remember, I just want to build amount of coins. So that is a key level for Bitcoin. Now, we take that, and what's quite interesting is, looking at the Bitcoin dominance and where we're sitting at dominance-wise is, we still, let's see why I was doing that. There we go. We're still at a very critical level. We're still above trend, and we've been speaking about this. Let me just make it bigger for all of you. There we go. So, we could still see that, we are getting a little bounce in the market, but now we've got this dominance making a very clear higher high. We then come back down to these levels over here, and now we're testing these zones. And it's quite interesting, it's dropped under 40% again. Now, if Bitcoin has that rally to, to the region of 47 or 48, and we start breaking through there, and we get a dominance collapse of the 39, it just shows we can obviously get a really strong push from the alts. I think it's going to work a little bit differently. I do still think we are going to have a dominance bounce. And what I mean by that is I think dominance is going to hover in this range until Bitcoin gets to 46, 47. So it means it's still going to give the alts that time to catch up, because the alts were the ones that took a bit more of the damage, right? So I still see this hovering here for a while. And then if we have a possible rejection of 46, now what happens if we do have a small rejection of 46? I'm not looking at it to be, the full reversal and that's it. I'm just thinking that if Bitcoin does make its way to 46, we're going to have the dominance continue downwards in that phase. And then there could be a possible pullback of Bitcoin back to 42, 43, and then maybe the breakout at that point, or we come down and test the lows of that wick. So that sort of makes sense to me that dominance is going to hold at the zone, which means for the next, 2-3 days or the remainder of this week, there's still really good gains to be made from the alts. And then if we do have a possible rejection from Bitcoin, then we could possibly see another little move up from dominance. As we can see, the alts are getting much bigger gains when the market's going up, and they get the bigger drops when the market's going down. And that's just the simplicity that it's now fallen into that favor where when the markets are pumping, dominance is going down. And when the markets are dumping, the dominance is going up. So Bitcoin is always going to be the main protection one of where we're looking at. So as long as you get in the basic understanding of how we're working with dominance, I'm still seeing at some point, think about it now. Either we got the thing where Bitcoin goes to 47, okay, anywhere in that region, it then gets rejected, we get a dominance turn, right? Or Bitcoin breaks through 47, rallies to 50, or 55 anywhere, dominance will turn as well, because as soon as Bitcoin can break really key structures, eyes are going to go back onto Bitcoin. Eyes are going to move and sometimes slow down a bit with the alts. The main thing is, I don't care which way dominance moves. I just really want Bitcoin to break through that resistance so we can start getting the confidence back. We've been seeing the fear and greed sitting at these levels for a long time, guys. And, end of the day, ignoring everything, ignoring FUD, ignoring all of that stuff and making it tough for yourself, there is no better indicator than the fear and greed index. It just takes patience. Like it is very simple to understand that let's just log in here. There we go. Now we go through the last year. Guys, the amount of times it's been at these levels over here, it's very simple for yourself. Like every time it's been here, doesn't matter if it hovered there for a while. I can already see here that this zone over here was when Bitcoin was 29K. I can already see this zone over here was the September drop of last year. Now, where's the September drop on Bitcoin? It was this drop over here. This one, sorry, I'm making a mess here. There we go. This drop over here was that clear zone over there. So you can see that, this thing, even if you go back all the way, and I want you guys to be practicing these things, go back to the max time and go look all the times we were sitting at those zones. Remember, to guess the exact bottom right now, it's not possible. I don't think anyone's really going to get to the point where they're going to guess the exact bottoms, but we are going to be guessing the right sort of phases and where we actually are, in the market cycle at this point, where the market's fearful. And after the market's fearful and they get the flushing out of the retail, we do have the bulls responses at times, and we really need to stop dropping this thing in our heads that the bulls don't come. Because when the bulls come, you're not ready for it. Like the bulls come so much stronger, and they always actually have. So remember to always keep that as your basic mindset of understanding where we're at. So Bitcoin to the upward side. I'm going to then go through, dominance as well to the downwards, and this is an important one for me as well. As I can see, total 3 is completely outperforming total 2 and total 1. So it just means alts are outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point. Now, a very interesting one, before I get into the actual charts and some calls for the day, is the DXY. Now, this is a really, it's not a super important thing, but to understand this is really big, because whenever we've had big drops in the DXY, we're always having a nice surge from the stock markets as well as from the actual crypto market as well. And we could see very clearly that this has been in an upwards trend, since June. So we're looking at 7 months that the dollar has been in the upwards trend. And now for the first time, we are breaking that trend. And the last time that we broke these trends, let's just match it up here, was this zone over here where we came through. Look at that. It was literally April to June of 2020. Because that's when Bitcoin, so March, that's when Bitcoin was still $5,000. Was the last time we broke a really key structural trend to the upward side. It's like, you know what I mean? You start putting in your brain and be like, wow, I don't actually want to miss it, because this is a very clear lower high from the DXY. And, this little push down, the fact that we're breaking this, if we made a lower high, what does that mean? It's very possible we can be making a lower low. And we could be seeing the Dixie really dropping down to lower levels. So this is just a nice little sign again that your patience was good waiting for. And at some point, we're looking at a lot of money flowing out of the dollars, and we're looking at these markets now to really attempt to reclaim the losses firstly. But I really think, we're at that point where 2022 can still be a really great year for crypto. So that's looking good. 10-year yield, yes. Now, one that I want to jump on, and especially for investors, you should be looking at this, because we're starting to get a lot of good indications now with DeFi. Now, I feel DeFi has also been on a downwards trend for, let's say, the last 5 months, right? It was really rallying strong, and we've actually formed this really big higher sort of wedge for DeFi, and this is the index, so it's taking majority of them and all basically averaging it down. And what I love about it is it has made a really good double bottom, so that's firstly a really good sign. It has held support, and we're getting a lot of good information on DeFi Llama and all of that DeFi, a lot of money is starting to flow in there. And what I love about this is, looking 2-3 days ago, I was looking at volume that's coming into DeFi and just the average of it in general. And if we have a look here, these volume spikes at the zones of where we're at is higher than a lot of the actual, let's just get it there we go. It is a lot higher than, a lot of the other volumes that we're looking through, a lot of the actual indexes. Like, we're getting a lot of interest in DeFi. So for you as an investor, I'd be looking at some really good investment projects. I then want you to do your simple strategy again by taking your weekly stochastic RSI, go look at your coin, go make sure it makes sense, make sure the team's good, make sure the following's good, make sure everything's good, and you look at your weekly, is it at the bottom? You're then in dollar costing zone and start averaging to your coin. So I'm just giving you guys a little heads up that I feel DeFi is really going to be one that's going to explode. And if Bitcoin does get that solid breakout, of the 47, 48, I really think DeFi is one that's going to really explode and do very well. Now, let's quickly jump into the shorter time frames and go through some of the calls. So firstly, ETH, I want to go through Ethereum quickly. Now, Ethereum's, it took a little bit of a big knock when it came to the downward side. We've been running in the sort of downward wedge for a while. And ETH right now, it's not looking super, super strong for me just yet. But I do feel, it's at some point, I do think it's going to do pretty well. But I'm going to be patient with this one. I still have a lot of ETH in my long term. Long term, I'm still very positive with ETH. Remember, the weekly is right at the bottom. The last time it was at the bottom was 1,700. The time before that was 1,500. The time before that was 500. The time before that was $100. So where we are on investment-wise, you should be drooling over the ETH prices right now. And short-term frame, I'd actually want to see ETH get back to 4,000. And when it gets to 4,000, I'd rather buy the next pullback. So if we do shoot through here, we come to the region of 4,000. We then have a pullback to around about 3.5, just a normal break of resistance and test. I'd rather be patient. And remember what the power of that doing is just by being patient. It teaches you're going to be buying exactly where the coins are now. So you can see in this region of where we're sitting between, 33 to 3,400. If I wait for this to happen here, and I wait for this to drop here and then to continue. Do you see how I'm buying the exact same level of where I would buy right now? What's the difference this time? Is I'm buying on RSIs that are reset. I'm buying on a pullback. I'm not buying on a pump. And if you can teach yourself to not chase the pumps, it's going to teach you very valuable lessons. So I'd rather wait for that, and that's where I'll stock up on that zone. So ETH's looking all right for now. I think it is one of the slow laggers as well as Bitcoin right now, and we're just going to be a little bit more patient with that. I see Solana had a really nice a nice little push yesterday. I still feel it's going to come back to the 130 sort of region. And I think that's where the investors should be really looking at Solana to say, wow, this thing was $260 2-3 months ago. If I can catch it around 130, the weekly stochastic has reset. So I think that is looking really good. I was looking at Kusama. Kusama is one of the short-term trades, and I'm still looking for another short-term trade in the area that's looking at now, because I think from here it is going to make its way to the region of $300. And I am looking at stop losses around $255 for now, which means I am putting a 7-8% risk, but I'm also looking for 20-25% gain. So my risk to reward is looking towards 1 to 3, which is always a good sort of one as a basic standard you want to see. Now, the last thing I do want to see on Kusama, though, is I do want to see this really nice clear break of this trend. So this is a nice one for you guys, that when we break of trend, I'm entering 50% in that I want to buy. And what I want to see with this actually, see there is quite a bit of lines, but just have a look here, guys, is what I want to see is a break, is a test, and is the continuation. So I'm never afraid to stock up a little bit there. I want to buy the test, and then I want to put a stop loss in that place and make sure I'm protecting myself at that zone. And I am looking at Kusama make its way the region of 320 to 340 on the higher time frame views. Remember what I spoke about yesterday, is there's still a possibility that, let's say Bitcoin does break out and we have a rally to 50K, we can see Kusama in the next months run back to the region of $450. And if you ended up getting these entries over here and just put a stop loss in play, you remember where your entry actually is. So that's looking good. I will see our EGLD trade did very well yesterday. Let's just jump in here and just make it clearer for you guys. There we go. So we got the beautiful buys yesterday. We then shot up. And when it gets to these TP zones, I'm still taking a little bit of profit. I don't know yet if the markets, if that was the 100% bottom. We will see if we break the next higher high. But EGLD, good entries. If it does come back anywhere to $200, it's still a valid trade. And your stop loss at that region over there, you take some profit at 15%, take some more at 30%. It's teaching you the basics of understanding. Now, same thing with Luna. Now, Luna already tipped the bottom of our first T-box. Yesterday when we were speaking about it, was just above here. You would already be 8, and if it goes to that region, 12% profit. You know what I mean? You learn to make a little bit of capital, still waiting, and remember, it's at a very key resistance now, and I'm still seeing the next level going to around 22% with Luna as well. So no trade now. I won't be adding more in here, but that was the one, and that's what you want to say, okay, I missed that one if you didn't get it. Where's the actual next one? And you want to follow the same sort of process. See, RUNE. Guys, yesterday we spoke about this. RUNE was in the regions over here. You know what I mean? It just started tipping off. And that's why it's always going to be tough at times to give short-term trades, because it may pump just before the show or any of these regions. That's why COINPANEL, guys. Remember COINPANEL? Everything is here for you guys all the time. Do not miss it. It gives you all of the entries. It helps you with everything. And that's how I can communicate with you. But look here, RUNE yesterday from where we looked at, 12%, quick pump up, take some profits. You know what I mean? It's really good. And we're at that really key sort of trend now. And if it shoots through to the next one, I'll take a little bit more. And then I'll leave it a little bit more to continue after with that. But you see how traders, take note, it's a simple strategy. And it really, really works. I promise you, I've used this since I've started, and I have not stopped using the same. I never had to learn anything more. I just had to learn a simple strategy. Looking at AVAX as well, if it does come anywhere between $90, this trade's still active. But I think AVAX, and remember guys, only buy in the buy zones, because that's how you can prep for your actual risk management and where to check. So where we're looking at AVAX, I'm still looking at $100. I'm still looking at $110 as the next zone. And that will be the key one to see. Do we break out of there? Do we have the strong rally? We will soon see after that. Now, DOT-wise, no more, we're in the short-term trade. I'm leaving that. I think DOT is going to make its way to $30. So I'm going to look to take some profits anywhere above 27, 28, 29, start laddering at that zone. Because I do think DOT is going to do some sort of, inverse head and shoulders. I think it's going to do, something where we rally up here, then a little pullback, and then the continuation. So wherever we're at now, and we get to a really key level, I'm going to take some profits. And when I take some profits, I'm going to buy back. And it means I just used that to make 20% gains. It came back exactly where I am now. And then I can always top up again and not lose my actual position. But I'm taking some decent profits. Where we're looking at with Cardano, investor-wise, I'm dollar costing into Cardano. I'm not short-term trading it just yet. It's not there. Cardano will really get explosive when we break the really big structures. Because when we get to these big structures is when proper volume will start coming in. And then it gets a lot easier to trade, except now, I'm sure you guys can feel that way about Cardano. I keep buying it and it just stays there. Like, is Cardano a stable coin or is it an actual trading? Like, it's just not doing anything. And that's because we are not just there yet. So when we get to the regions of breakouts here, then I would start looking at Cardano and saying, okay, short term, definitely. But remember, when it comes to weekly, you can't be asking for much more. We had a very oversold position over here, and dollar costing at the zone is really good. Same as DOT, DOT as well, same as AVAX, same as all of these that are at those positions as I showed yesterday. They're all looking good. Luna, I'll be a bit more patient, but you can soon go through all of those and see what's working for you and what's not. Now, Chainlink, no trades, no new trades, but no selling. I'd be holding. The only time I will buy Chainlink is if it comes back to $23. If it comes back to $23, I'm putting a stop loss at around about $21, and that means I'm running on a 6-7% risk. But I am seeing Chainlink actually break through this wedge next. Now, if Bitcoin breaks through that wedge, I see Chainlink being one of the lead runners with Bitcoin, just because the link to the Bitcoin chart is looking amazing. Remember to also look at these coins to Bitcoin, just to compare it to see, are they running with Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin completely destroying them when the markets are turning? And what I am looking at with Link is I do see a strong rally to $40. So I still think Chainlink is going to be a strong one for us. I think, Bitcoin breaks through that. I do see something like this playing out in a continuation. So Chainlink, if I can catch it at $23, it is great for trading wise or short-term trades, as well as, investment wise, I'll be a bit more patient. Wait for that stochastic weekly to hit the bottom. Just stick to the rules, guys. If you stick to the rules, consistency will always win the race. Now, the ones that I'm looking at for short-term trades today, the first one I'm looking at right now is Render. Now, Render, I already know, it's nearly at that point for investment wise that RSI, stochastic RSI weekly is completely at the bottom. Right now, it's right there. It's just not in that 20 zone yet, which means we can still have a little bit of a sideways market for Render for another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So investment-wise, I'm waiting for it under there, and I'm dollar costing. We know how this coin really moves. It makes sense, guys. It's a fantastic fundamental coin. So I will be looking at the entries for it, definitely. But when it comes to short trade mode, this is looking good for me. It's looking good to give me a nice 15, 25%, opportunity here. Now, just to the trend line from where we're sitting in the region now, I'd be putting a stop loss around 3.4, 3.5, because it's just under the previous low. And from here, I am seeing it rally up to the region of 4.5 to 4.6. It can even go to $5 in the regions over here. And if it starts getting to those zones, I'm going to then start to, ladder out some profits as it gets to those levels. And then remember the same thing as I said here. I'm not afraid to take this on now and to start selling off, because remember, it can always come back. And when it comes back, I can always buy back in again. But at least it taught me to take profits on the way up and then buy a retest and then do the same thing the next time. And you see how it gives you that nice little understanding. So Render is one of my calls for today that I'm thinking is going to do well short time frame. I think Sushi is also a really good one. I'm sort of falling on the DeFi narrative and just looking at all the cross-chain works and on DeFi Llama, like the amount of work that's going in Sushi. I think it's definitely one that's going to run really well with this market, especially where we're sitting now. So Sushi, remember buy zones. I don't want to be getting it anywhere above 7.15 or 7.6. I don't want to be chasing too much to the pumps, but anywhere between 6.9 and 7.1 in these zones over here, I'm going to be looking to ladder in now. Definitely, I'm going to be putting a stop loss around 6.7, and I'm going to be looking to take some profits around $8 to $9 in those zones over there. Free up some. So that's another short-term call for me. The next one, which is looking good, is Aave. As well. So Aave, what I'd actually look to do here is I think at any point, if Bitcoin does come test 43,500 in these things, I'll be a bit patient here, but if you can catch Aave anywhere between, $204 to the $212, 200 in that region, I'd be taking this trade definitely. I'll be putting my stop loss around $200. And I'll be looking for TP around $250 and probably the next one around $260. And what I'm going to teach you guys is, the ones that took yesterday, I just want to show you this quickly before I jump onto some investment calls, is if you took, let's just use one of them that's here, EGLD. As soon as we make a higher low, so what I mean by that is we come down, we make a higher low, and we start breaking the highs again. So we start breaking through these levels. It's very critical that you take the stop loss of yours and you put it under that low. Why must you lose the gains? Guys, you've made a higher low. So we're still trailing up at this point. So take your stop loss up and move it up. Now you got no risk. Now you got absolutely nothing risk at this point. And worst scenario, the market dumps and you pull a 2, 3, 5% profits. But at least you've learned that to pull that up. Same with Luna. Same with anything now. Luna's in trend. It's outside that trend. It should not come back in. So I'd move my thing into profit. Remember to move them up. That's where you have to be strict with yourself as we're moving. Now, one for investment-wise that's looking good is GRT. I think, where we're looking now, remember, we've got 3 phases. You've got a downwards phase in the market, you've got a sideways phase in the market, and you've got a pump side of the market. Which phase do you see GRTs at the moment? It's in sideways phase, it's in accumulation phase, which means anytime we dip to these key levels and we got this main stock hitting the bottom, investment-wise, I'm drilling over this. I think this is really good. The fundamentals are good. I think it's going to really, rampage from here. Well, not just from here, but I'm saying any dips here is really good dollar costing zones. Because at any point, just to the top of this zone over here is 130%, just to the top. But if we break through that and all of a sudden we go into rampage mode, you're looking at 300, 400, 500% gains when it comes to investment-wise. So GRT is one for me that, it's looking good. And this is where I'm definitely dollar costing into a GRT for a good hold. Even if it's just to the top of the wedge, I'll obviously update as we progress. I was looking, let's just have a look here, also at ImmutableX. The only thing with this now, so I want to show you the two differences now. ImmutableX is a really good fundamental coin. I think it's fantastic. The only difference is between those two charts is, do you see how GRT already had a history? It already had, you could see it came from a downward phase. We could see it's in a sideways phase now. And you could see clearly if we break resistance, we can go into a top phase. Now, the difference with this is now you jump on and say, okay, I really want this coin. But now how do I know that if this is my only data, this is all that I got? Guys, this is where you get two differences. Remember, if you're going to try buy floors and supports, it's probably one of the best things for an investor because you can allow to be wrong sometimes. It is so hard to guess the bottom of the market. And then you got a confirmation buy. And a confirmation buy is to say, you know what, I don't know where this thing's going to bottom out. I really want it. It's a really good coin. I'm going to be patient for a break a trend. And when I wait for a break a trend and a test, that's where I'm going to be buying. So remember, you've got two buys. You either try to guess the bottoms, which is great, but it's more of an investment strategy. And then you've got to think, okay, I don't have any data. I don't know where the bottoms can be. This thing's going to take probably another 2 weeks or another 3 weeks or something in that zone. And then I'm possibly looking at buying. So all I'll do is I'll go to this one over here, and I'll just add my alert there. And I write whatever it is there, wait for that thing, and then later stage, I'll be buying up. So ImmutableX, there is a shorter term trend, and I'm keeping an eye on this, and we break out. I do think we should be stocking up definitely. One thing that is interesting to me very much is the high sense of volume that's coming into this coin at this point. So I think it's looking good. So for now, guys, I didn't want to go too many short-term trades. I don't want to go too crazy just yet. Let's give Bitcoin some time. We've got enough there to make some money right now. We're being patient with the high time frames. We're still holding all the major trends. And now, right now, we're just waiting for Bitcoin to move where it needs to do. But I am seeing Bitcoin go to around 45, 46, possible little pullback. So in that time, let's make some money from good alts. And then we can make a decision on the much higher time frames on where we're actually looking. So guys, that's a quick way to just sum it up. There won't be two shows tomorrow. I know Randy's doing a later show today. We are flying tomorrow to Miami. So we're going to be doing one show together, which I'll quickly update and all of that and see what we're looking at over the weekend. But I do want to say again, if you are still here, well done to yourself. We are going to get through these phases and you're really, really going to enjoy the bull run now that you've actually learned something and you've learned how this market starts to play. So guys, much love. Remember to hit that hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join all of our social medias, and I'm very excited to see you all in Miami. I will see you all on tomorrow's show. Much love, Banter. I saw someone ask there, is these leverage trades? Guys, these will never, ever, 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 ever be leverage trades. I do not ever give leverage trades, only spot trades.